I had a plan for today's show. I did. And we might get to that plan eventually. But then yesterday afternoon, something happened between Rob Thompson and Nick Castellanos that brings back yesterday's culture conversation. Nick Castellanos benched for the first time in 6,000 days. Why? We're going to talk about it. And was Rob Thompson right to bench Nick Castellanos? And what can this do to the team going forward? We're going to talk all this and more. Trending in the AM. We are live, taking your thoughts and opinions. 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody. And welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. Yes, we are live. And if you want something free to do, tune in and hit that like button, that share button, subscribe button. It's literally free to do. The only free thing today. We also got a poll question going on our YouTube page. So if you're watching on Twitter, please head over to YouTube page, subscribe to the STT Sports Network, and vote on our poll. But please, first and foremost, share, like, subscribe. That is the thing to do, guys. And we got a lot to talk about today. And first and foremost, our poll question of the day. How will the Nick Castellanos benching affect the Phillies team? Not at all. Fracture the clubhouse dugout, bring the team closer together, or who cares? 4 votes in. Fracture the clubhouse is winning 3-1 over bring the team closer together. So, guys, I'm Phil Stiefel. I'm your host every morning here, and we've got lots to talk about today. I had a plan to talk about the young athletes in Philadelphia and who you want to see break out. I had that plan. But yesterday afternoon, after the show was already set up, I got the news, just like you all did, that for the first time in almost 250 games, Nick Castellanos was being benched. And Rob Thompson, without hesitating, said, no beating around the bush. He was direct to the point. Nick Castellanos said something inappropriate that crossed the line after he was pulled in the 8th inning for a defensive replacement on Monday. We don't know what was inappropriate. We don't know what was said that crossed the line, but we know it was bad enough to end the consecutive game streak of Nick Castellanos that is the longest in Phillies history since Pete Rose. And I'm curious what everybody thinks of this situation. I'm curious what you think was said. I'm curious what was said. Let me tell you something. I respect Rob Thompson more than I ever have. And why is that? I've been asking, I've been begging, I've been pleading for Rob Thompson to show some emotion, to show some life, to show something that'll shake this team up. He normally is a very casual guy, laid back, deals with everything in private. Normally he's a guy that never budges from his little stoop in the dugout. Him actually doing this and being up front with it. Rob Thompson could have easily just said, well, I thought it was a good day and a good opportunity to get Nick off his feet. He could have played it off in another way. But no, whatever he said, Rob Thompson was like, no, that's unacceptable. That's not how we do business here in Philadelphia. Now, how will this affect the team? There's an argument to be made that it'll fracture this team. There's also an argument to be made that it'll bring them together closer. There's an argument to be made that it won't affect the team at all. But I think this, in the very least, can help, can affect how Rob Thompson manages going forward. Maybe this tells the team that everything isn't, like, that nothing bad is acceptable here. He's showing that you got to be held accountable for your actions, something that I don't think has happened in the past. I absolutely love and everybody knows I've always been considered a Rob Thompson hater. Well, this is the first time in a long time that I'm taking Rob Thompson's side of it. Now, Nick Castellanos is a very good player. He's one of the most important players right now on this team. It is. He is. Whether he's a good player or not is not the conversation. It's out of the Phillies players, he's one of the best. One of the more offensively productive players on this team currently. But Rob Thompson did right. That could set it. Now, it could fracture this team. It could, Nick Castellanos' side could get fractured with Rob Thompson. It could divide it. It absolutely could. And it may. But I respect Rob Thompson so much more, knowing he had the cojones. I've always said he doesn't run that clubhouse. The players do. The inmates run the asylum. Well, this is Rob Thompson putting his foot down and saying, this is my clubhouse. This is my locker room. We don't act like that. We talked about culture yesterday, putting the team above an individual. Nick Castellanos went ahead and put individual ahead of the team when he said whatever inappropriate things he said because he got benched in the 8th inning for defensive replacements. It's really interesting. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? It doesn't say what he said, but it must have been something bad. Yeah, I mean, no, not to put another side of it, but starting 200 and whatever it was, 40 games in a row, that's nothing to sneeze at. Breaking that streak is nothing crazy. Like Rob Thompson probably thought about it. Be like, he has played a lot of games in a row. Do we want to end that streak right now? I don't know. That had to go through his head somewhat. That probably told Rob that Rob should be benched for his shit job. Nick probably told Rob that Rob should be benched for his shit job he's done this season. Well, you know what? Whether he's done a shit job or not, he did the right thing here. You can't throw your manager on. If you wanted to say something like this, Steve, to your manager, you know what you do? You do it in the locker room. You do it in his office. You go to his office after the game, and you blast him. You say whatever you want. Because behind closed doors, you say whatever you want. But in front of the whole team, if Rob Thompson didn't take a stance here, he would completely lose this team. What's up, Rick? Good morning. Topper did the right thing. It's not going to hurt this team. It, in fact, will strengthen this team. It's good to show leadership in the long run. It will galvanize the team. I agree. I agree. Yes, he did the right thing, without a doubt. Will it strengthen the team? It depends on how tight Nick Castellanos is with certain people. Like, it could be a problem. I hope it won't be, but it could. We're going to have to find out over the course of the next, week or two if it will hurt this team at all. But it does show good leadership. It does finally, after all this time, set an example of team over individual. It really will. So I'm very happy that he did it. It didn't spark anything. It definitely didn't spark anything good last night. The offense definitely fell flat last night. And the bullpen wasn't that great. Neither was Jesus Luzardo. It was not a good game for the Phillies last night at all. It won't divide this team at all. It'll be forgotten about in a week. I don't know if it'll be forgotten about, but maybe. If they rattle off a bunch more wins after today, sure, maybe it will be forgotten about. I hope Nick Castellanos learns his lesson is what I'll say, Rick. Nick Castellanos beats to his own drum. He's a weird cat, right? He does things a little differently than anybody else, right? I could totally see it sparking Nick Castellanos to be a red-hot hitter, but I can also see it sparking Nick Castellanos to be like a Juan Soto and go up there tonight and refuse to swing a bat. Or if there's a ball that's kind of, should I die for it or not? Play it on one hop like Bobby Abreu. I could totally see Nick Castellanos doing one or the other. So that is going to be something we're going to have to wait and see. Just seems like weird time to finally make a statement when he had plenty of other opportunities before with other players. Yeah, during the fight. Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing. It's a weird time to finally make that statement. That, to me, and I agree with that, Steve. The problem is that means that whatever was said by Nick Castellanos was so wrong that he had no choice to bench him. Now, here's the thing. He did it, Nick Castellanos, in the dugout. Excuse me. While the game was going on. So everybody there heard it. All the players, not the pitchers because they're in the bullpen. All the equipment manager, all the assistant coaches. Everybody heard it. So Nick Castellanos didn't give Rob Thompson any choice but to make a statement during a 5-game win streak. As a parent, if you let your child disrespect you, their behavior will get worse if you don't correct. But if you correct that behavior, you're on the road to better. Now, I'm not a parent, Rick. I never have been, okay? But if you do correct it, it might get better. But it might not get immediately better. They may throw some temper tantrums at first. They may push back a little bit. Now, if you hold your ground over time, yes, maybe it changes that behavior, but it doesn't always make it instantly better. Good morning, Little G. How you doing? Hope you are well. You think he might want out after this? I've heard a few people ask that question on social media. Does this spell the end of the Nick Castellanos era? I don't know. We'll see how he comes out and plays tonight because I'm sure he'll be in the lineup tonight. All right, so we'll see. If it starts to fracture the team or break up that close-knit locker room, maybe the Phillies want him out after that, if that's the way he does. And if you know what? If he starts to break this team up because of whatever he said and Rob Thompson taking the stand, yeah, I'm taking Rob Thompson's side. And you can ship him out of here. If he acts like a baby because of the way this all transpired, then yeah, you've got to get rid of him. Cass ain't Soto. He's not Soto. He's not. But Castellanos is a weird dude. He beats to his own drum. He does things his own way. He's got this weird personality that's just different, okay? I can see him 100%, acting a little childish to try to push back at the parent discipline. If you let the inmates run the asylum and you end up with an NBA team. Yeah, absolutely. Great comparison. Absolutely. It was a great, like Rob, Rick, you know I am the ultimate Rob Thompson hater. You know that. You know nobody criticizes him more than me. When I'm taking Rob Thompson's side, you know that he's definitely right. Thank you, Big Al. Thank you. Good morning, Big Al. Breaking. Castellanos told Rob Thompson, Canada is soft and should be the 51st state in America. I've seen like 97 different people make that joke. I was going to say breaking news. Castellanos told Rob Thompson, Wawa coffee is better than Tim Hortons coffee. And that's what threw Rob Thompson over the edge. Haven't seen anybody else make that joke other than me. All right. And Tim Hortons coffee is pretty good, actually. If Castellanos acts differently and wants out, see ya. We don't want him. Exactly, Big Al. I don't know how Nick Castellanos is going to react. I don't. But I do know that this is the first time we've ever seen Rob Thompson hold one of the big name, higher priced, all-star caliber players on this team accountable. Yeah, he's benched Bryson Stott before for struggling. He's benched other rookies and young players before. But he's never benched a Bryce Harper, a Kyle Schwarber, or a JT Realmuto, or a Nick Castellanos for anything. This is a big, big moment for Rob Thompson and us Rob Thompson haters. This is what we've been asking for ages from him. Rob never set this kind of tone early on. If he said it early on, maybe this doesn't happen. But you let Bryce get away with everything and anything. Bryce shows lack of effort in front of us all. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe Rob Thompson said enough's enough. Maybe Rob Thompson had one of those, epiphanies, one of those coming, moments. He's like, shit, if we're ever going to win, this might be one of my last runs. I want my legacy to have a championship. Enough's enough. Time to put the foot down. We got a couple of young guys on this team. We're going to be calling up more young guys soon. We got to change the tone of this locker room, this dugout, this clubhouse. And again, whatever he said was so bad that he decided this was the moment. And again, I don't think enough, how do I say this? That consecutive game streak, breaking it on during a 5-game winning streak, when he is the longest straight streak in Phillies history since Pete Rose did, and that was over 40 years ago. To break that streak, it must have been a really egregious thing said. Not just about Tim Hortons coffee or Canada being the 51st state, like really egregious. Rob doesn't do shit to Bryce. He never does. He never does. But maybe this sets a different tone. Maybe now Rob realizes, oh shit, I can do this and get support. Remember, people will always treat you how you let them. Making a stand was absolutely the right move, and the rest of the team, Cass included, will respect Topper. I think the team as a whole will probably respect Topper more. Will individuals push back on this, like Nick Castellanos? Maybe. I'm not 100% sure yet that Nick Castellanos will be a better person for it. I can feel Nick Castellanos saying, well, Rob did what he did. Whether I like it or not, I don't have a say. He's going to say, I think he already said something similar to that. Whatever. He's the coach. He gets to choose. That's a grouchy way to respond to it. Be a man, screw up and take your lumps. Don't make it worse. Well, Nick Castellanos, when he was asked yesterday, could have said, look, he said, Rob Thompson said I crossed the line, so I'm benched today. That's not taking accountability for your actions. Accountability for your actions was, in the heat of the moment, I said something I should have. Rob Thompson did the right thing in benching me today. Already in his initial statements yesterday, Nick Castellanos didn't take the high road. He took the immature road. Now, that was in the heat of the moment yesterday. Maybe today is different. Phil's the ultimate. Yeah, I mean, I know I am. Come on. You already hate me for my Daryl Morey. He's the worst GM in Philadelphia sports history the other day. Tim Hortons is superior coffee. You shut your mouth and take that back. Pretty much, right? Nick Castellanos probably like, I'll take a Dunkin' Donuts, a Wawa, a Sheet, a Bucky's coffee all over Tim Hortons. And Rob Thompson's like, no, get out. Dave Dombrowski, trade him right now. This stuff does happen daily, right? Nooms, I'm sure it does. Managers and employees get into scuffles all the time. But there's a difference, okay? There's a difference. When this stuff happens, and it happens in front of the entire workforce, a stance has to be made. And I respect Rob Thompson for making that stand. I don't think JT would do anything childish or unprofessional. He seems like the grown-up in the clubhouse. Yeah, JT Realmuto. Yeah, I mean, he's the grown-up. I mean, he is, because he's one of the older guys in the clubhouse. Manuel benches Rollins for not hustling. He's beloved for it. Phil's go-to on to win a World Series. It could bring – absolutely. And I've been wanting Rob Thompson to be like this as well. And I've said it when Bryce Harper doesn't run out a ground ball that gets bobbled and he would have been on first base, or that double he could have stretched to a triple and would have scored on a sac fly. Then you lose the game. Where the problem, Rick, is why hasn't he acted like this before? Is it too late? That was still early on in the Phillies run. This is year 3-4 of this playoff run. That's why Manuel was the player's manager, just like Rob Thompson. But they still were able to be held accountable by their guy. Hold on, I got a page all the way down because I see it way down here. There's a Mets fan creeping in. What's up, man? Like, share, subscribe. Mets fans are welcome. as long as you don't mind talking Phillies and Eagles and Sixers. Manuel, I just went to the wrong one there. Hustling out a ground ball is much different than something that may come off disrespectful. Managers handle different situations in silence. Others need more drastic punishment. That's fine. And this obviously deserved a very drastic punishment. We don't know if Bryce ever did what Nick did and requires this. Bryce may have done this, but behind closed doors where no one else could see. Cass needed to be humbled. It's a good thing he will eventually come to that realization. Eventually. Hopefully it's not too late. That's all I could say about that. QVC has that shirt I showed. I'll have to go Google that because that was fantastic. Mets own us. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. I think what he said was truthful and hurts Rob's feelings. Rob then returned and said, maybe whatever Nick Castellanos said struck a nerve because Rob Thompson knew whatever it was true. There were some great memes about this. Oh, there's so many great jokes and memes floating around about it. What great fielding outfielder replaced Nick? They just rearranged everybody. I think Brandon Marsh played right field last night. Not that that's a good thing. That's the problem. You kind of got to put Nick Castellanos back out there because of that. We always get those strays from New York in the chat. We do. We always catch a stray New York Giants or New York Mets or New York Knicks fan occasionally. It's all good. But this feels like a New York Mets type situation. This kind of situation is what happens in New York, not in Philly, where we tend to most of the time with the Eagles and normally with the Phillies have a great culture and locker room and clubhouse. I get what you're saying. What great outfielder replaced him for defensive purposes that game. We don't have any great outfielders. I get it now. We shouldn't be surprised. Next Bohm, Castellanos is the biggest baby on this team. Yeah. Alec Bohm has accepted the criticism for his antics plenty of times. Okay? Alec Bohm is a baby in the moment, but then grows up really quick in his response. Nick Castellanos could have been a grown-up and said things differently yesterday when he spoke to the media. There's certain words, verbiage that could be changed. Obviously, Rob Thompson thinks I said something that crossed the line, so I'm benched. No, he could have easily said, I crossed the line. I said something I shouldn't have. You could take ownership of your mistake. But in the heat of the moment, he didn't. He didn't take ownership. Meanwhile, Mets ain't won shit in 40 years, and yeah, exactly. No New York team will. Run the league in the next decade is such a New York thing. It is. The High Hopes podcast, they said they thought Nick said something insulting about Rojas. Maybe. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't call out, Tim Hortons coffee being crap. Maybe he said, you replaced me for Rojas? That dude sucks or something like that. And if that's the case, if you call out the coach, that's one thing. If you call out one of your teammates, now that, Anthony, can fracture a locker room. If the coach does not stand up for you. If he called out one of the players and the manager stands up for that player, that brings everybody to, the manager, Rob Topper's got my back. Damn. More than I thought. That's interesting. It's a good way to put it, too. It's literally the first year of Juan Soto's contract, and it's already aging terribly, right? You think New York's already regretting paying Juan Soto $750 million or whatever that atrocious number was? Paving the way for Keaton Anthony to be called up, but Keaton Anthony ain't a defensive stalwart either. We don't have a very good defensive outfield, period, right now at all in any position. I know you've been hyping up Keaton Anthony for a couple days now on this show. I don't know. What do we say? We're getting trolled here again. I said for not in. Thank you. Mets effing rule. Top of the NL East, get used to it. Yeah, I mean, they're at the top of the NL East right now, but Who cares? Mets will Met, as always, we say. If he called out Rojas, then isn't he just saying what all have been saying? Rojas does suck. Yeah, absolutely. But you can't say that. You can't call out a teammate in front of everybody and not expect some form of discipline for that. You can't say, yo, you're replacing me for that piece of shit. You can't say that in front of everybody. That destroys a team. That destroys a locker room. And guys, make sure you're hitting that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, and vote on our poll. We got 12 votes so far. How will this Nick Castellanos benching affect the Phillies? A, not at all, which is 17%. Fracture the clubhouse dugout is at 42%. Bring the team closer together, 25%. And 17% say who cares. So there's where we're at with the voting and the polls so far, guys. But continue to vote on the poll. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. There's 15 people watching. That means there should be 15 likes on this video. When the Phillies win the World Series this year, we'll look back at this as a good thing for the team. Absolutely. And Rick, again, you know me, Mr. Negative Nancy, Mr. Negadelphian, Mr. Hater. This can be something that propels this team to that World Series that you've been talking about. This is a thing that could bring the team to closer together. This is a thing that could give Rob Thompson more confidence, make Rob Thompson a better manager. I wouldn't be shocked if Castee was breaking balls, but culturally it may have been taken differently. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. The Mets' MO is to shit the bed at the worst possible time, and that's what they'll do again. Absolutely. That we can agree on. Yeah, I hope this dude is back on Monday. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Benny, Mets don't even run New York. The Mets don't run anything. Is this the same kind of drama that the Eagles had the week of the Steelers game that seemed to bring the team together in the end? Maybe. These kind of moments are key moments in every season in sports. These are like the moments that when this hits, you're teetering. Does this moment fall off the ledge, fall off the cliff, and you crash and burn to your ugly death? Or does the team gather everybody up, pull you off the ledge, and it brings everybody together? This is like one of those trust falls. Do you trust that this situation will save this season, will bring this season to the successes we hope for? Or is this one of those moments where you do the trust fall and everybody moves their arms and you fall and crash and burn? Loved calling Jose Reyes. I forgot all about him. I haven't thought of that name. He had a lot of potential. He had a couple really good years in baseball. They won an MVP, right? I don't think the Phillies have the leadership that the Eagles have. That is a good question, Anthony. They don't have the culture or the leadership. Do they or don't they? Will there be a closed-door meeting last night or this morning? Players only. Where Kyle Schwarber, well, Bryce Harper can't do it because he didn't even go to Miami with the team. Is Kyle Schwarber going to stand up in that clubhouse and be like, yo, or JT Realmuto, look, this stuff happened. We have to accept what Rob Thompson did. And let's move on from it. Let's be better from it. Let's be better people. Who will be the guy in the players' locker room that says, this can make us better, not worse? Let's not let this hiccup ruin the season. And I think he did. He was really, really good for like a few years. I'm almost positive Reyes won one. Topper just showed the leadership. Absolutely. But there's a difference between manager leadership and player leadership. As great of a coach as Nick Sirianni is, he needs Jalen Hurts to also be a great leader to succeed. Rob Thompson is showing great leadership yesterday, but he needs someone else to have his back. He needs a player that everybody else respects to have his back, to keep everybody together so those locker room fractures don't happen. This is the first time that I remember Rob Thompson having a backbone, to showing this kind of leadership. All these things. Why did it take him years to show this leadership? That's all you want to know, Steve? I don't know. Rob Thompson is not a huge personality. He's a very laid-back guy. He doesn't let things affect him. He's not confrontational. He's not, get in your face. He's not Larry Boa. Okay? And we all want a Larry Boa type here. The Flyers, it didn't work with John Tortorella. The Larry Boa type doesn't necessarily work in today's age in sports. These rich, pompous, arrogant athletes. You got to lead differently. But occasionally, situations like this have to be had. And I'm glad. You know what? If Rob Thompson didn't do what he did yesterday, I think that him taking a stand like this can make this team better more than if he didn't take this stand. It could have ruined this season. And it came out years later. Oh, well, this happened, and that's why this team fell apart. More good can come out of Rob Thompson benching Nick Castellanos than bad. And more good can come out of it than him not doing anything. Because then the players just know we can say whatever. We definitely run the asylum here. To me, all seems pretty contrived, almost like pro wrestling. But you think this was a scripted scenario? Rob Thompson before the game said, yo, I'm going to pull you. Say something inappropriate so I can bench you. And that's going to save the season. Was Vince McMahon writing the script? Topper's leadership could be done a lot behind closed doors. We don't see or hear about it. He doesn't throw guys under the bus. Exactly, he doesn't. And that's always been his style. It's not my kind of way. Like, sometimes I think you've got to make stands like yesterday. I think more than once in 3.5 years, a stance like this has to happen. I do. But I'm glad he did it. Rob Thompson's leadership style is probably the way most teams in professional sports run their teams now. Okay, that's just the way it is. The Larry Boa types, the smashing baseball bats type, that just doesn't work in this day and age. Call it soft, call it whatever you will. But Rob Thompson's way does work to an extent. But sometimes you've got to light somebody up. It's the stupidest drama ever because the other day on Father's Day, he left Castian late so he could stat pad and he had a grand slam. What's the big deal of him taking him out of a blowout at the end? Well, the game he got pulled from was Monday's game, which they were winning 5-2. He was pulled out. Wasn't it 5-2? Maybe it was a different score. I wanted to say it was 5-2, the other game, when he was actually pulled. It was 5-2 the game he was pulled from. So he was pulled for a defensive replacement in a 5-2 game in the 8th inning. And it is stupid drama. Castellanos acted like a baby. Castellanos saying anything acts like a baby. Panthers, baby. What about the Panthers? What's going? Yeah, how we only have 9 likes, Adam? I don't know. We got 14 votes on the poll. We've had 16 to 18 people watching. Most of the time, 13 right now. There should be at least 16 likes on this video, at least 16 votes on the poll. But you guys don't love me enough. Topper hasn't won the championship yet, but his leadership has won a ton of games over the past 4 years. Look at the decade before Topper took over. No playoffs. Yeah, but they're also different teams. There was a lot less money spent, a lot less talent on those teams. So Topper at least has been given the talent. Are you talking about the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup, by the way? Because, goddamn, I don't want to talk about that. There's something I could talk about there. The bullpen rotation or lack thereof is what is going to be the reason this team doesn't get anywhere. Not this, regardless of what comes from it. It's a fair point. Yeah, Dombrowski signing another cup while Brizgalov counts another million while looking for UFOs and Sirianni. Is the trade? Yeah, the goalie we let get away. Is the Sergei Bobrovsky, Bob's, the worst trade in Philadelphia sports history. Is it the worst trade in Philadelphia sports history? He's won 2, what do we call Venezia Cups or however you say it, and 2 Stanley Cups in the last 10 years. Are you kidding me? And he was ours? We haven't had a goalie in 40 years, 50 years? And we had one? And we let him slip away for a second and third round pick that turned into nothing with the Flyers? Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. Possibly the worst trade in Philadelphia sports history. Cassie's the worst defensive outfielder in all of baseball. He should be getting pulled late in close games. The analytics and the statistics say he is a bad defensive player. Now, the thing is, he was never supposed to be a great defensive player. He's better than advertised. But, yes, he's not good. He doesn't get to a lot of balls. Now, he doesn't make a lot of errors, but he's not diving and cutting balls off in the gap. He is what he is. So if the game was won and it was the last inning, that's the point. It seems fake to me. But maybe it is. Maybe it is fake. But I respect Rob Thompson for making a stance like this. I respect Rob Thompson for, in my opinion, doing what's right. Nobody watched the stand. No. If the Flyers were in it, yeah, I would. I'm watching some of the NBA Finals because it's actually a really entertaining finals. But I would not watch the Stanley Cup Finals without the Flyers in it. Dombrowski trade in and of itself represents the beginning of the Flyers really losing their minds. Yeah, absolutely. I literally have to say it's the worst trade in Philadelphia sports history based off of the end result 10 years later. Easily the worst trade considering we haven't had shit in net. No, nothing. Definitely one of the worst moves in Flyers history, but that's the Flyers. Yeah, piss poor front office moves. Yeah, look, definitely the worst trade. Definitely the worst trade in Philly Flyers history. It was actually a really enjoyable Stanley Cup Finals. Playoff hockey is great. I just can't get in. I've been so out on the Flyers. Normally, I'm in on the Sixers every year, so it gives me a little reason to watch the NBA Finals. I haven't paid attention to the Flyers for so long. It's hard. Phil, on the Philly special podcast, they had a guest who does baseball analytics, and he said Casty was dead last in outfield defense. Yeah, his analytics say he's an awful defensive player. I saw the numbers. I don't know if I watched that, but maybe I saw their sharing of like some of the graphics from that or the numbers from that. I know. Analytically speaking, he is one of, if not the worst defensive outfielder out there. He is. But remember also, Anthony, when he signed here to play with the Phillies, he was signed here to be a part-time left fielder / DH. He was going to platoon between left field and DH. Then they bring in Schwarber, and they tell Nick Castellanos, you got to go play right field. Much harder position to play. You got to go play right field, which you've never played before, really. And we don't have a great center fielder to put next to you to help make up the ground. And left field's going to suck, too. Nick Castellanos was put in a losing situation with being forced to play right field. And I think he's, although statistically, analytically, the worst, I think he's done well considering the situation. NBA Finals has low ratings, too. Not a good year. Look, yeah, the ratings have been low for the NBA Finals, and that's a damn shame because most of the games have been damn entertaining. And you got 2 different types of teams, and I wish more people were watching the NBA Finals. Maybe Carter Hart has a good stop. No, I don't want Carter Hart back. Briere has a chance to make his legacy in Flyers history for better or worse. This is a major offseason. Absolutely agree. 1,000%. Cash may be dead last, but I know he wouldn't have dropped that fly ball like Kepler did last night. That's a different comment. Then Bryce Harper retired from playing the outfield. Yeah, a lot of things happened that caused Nick Castellanos to be forced to play right field. And again, he's not athletic enough to play right field, but he does an okay job considering. He's never going to be an elite right fielder. He's never going to be an average right fielder. But if he can be adequate, he's fine. Yet if you look at the trade in a vacuum, Steve Mason was a bet worth taking at the time. He had an awesome year for Columbus. Yet Bob rarely did anything here, showing he could have been traded. Yeah. But he was also, what was Dombrowski at the time? Like 23 when we traded him? It's not like we gave him time to develop here. Bryce is why Nick is in right full time. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kyle Schwarber and then Bryce Harper. That's really why. But whatever. It doesn't matter because Brandon Marsh sucks too. Because Johan Rojas sucks too. Because Dave Dombrowski sucks too. That's why. There's a lot of reasons why he's in right field full time. But again, hopefully this situation brings the team together, but makes Nick Castellanos maybe grow up a little bit. I heard Harper's playing against the Mets. I did not hear that. I heard there was a chance he was going to come back at some point on this road trip, but then he didn't come to Miami. So he was supposed to fly with the team to Miami to get ready to play against the Mets. But then he didn't actually travel with the team to Miami. So is he not going to play against the Mets now? I don't know. I was fully expecting Bryce Harper to miss 2 months. It's about the time frame when you talk about he had the same wrist issue last year. He played through the pain, and then he said in December is when he started feeling pain-free, which means end of October baseball to December, about a 2-month stretch it took him to get that wrist right. So I was expecting 2 months. I was expecting all of July him to be out, at least. So I don't know. Maybe he has to make a miraculous comeback because of the Nick Castellanos situation. Kepler has been red hot lately, hitting, and he's much better defender than Cassie. He just got unlucky and lost the ball in the lights. Kepler has been hot lately. I don't trust Max Kepler long-term, offensively speaking. He's an okay defender. He's an okay player. He's nothing special. Columbus let Bob go too. It's true. It's true. I think Harper's best days were in Washington. I mean, he did win an MVP in 21. And, his first couple of years here, while the results with the team weren't great, he was still very good here early on. I think his best days might be behind him now. I don't think he's ever going to be pushing for an MVP award again, but we'll see. Most ironic thing, Steve Mason has the best stats for playoff goalies in the 14 playoffs, albeit 14 games. Harper was taking ground balls, but not swinging the bat yet. Okay, I didn't see that. I missed some things. Obviously, this weekend I missed a lot of sports stuff because I was just so laser focused on the U.S. Open. I don't know what's next. I mean, obviously the Phillies lost 8-3 last night. I don't know if that had anything to do with the Nick Castellanos benching. I mean, you take Bryce Harper out of the lineup, it looks weak. You take Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos out of the lineup, and you look at what they threw out there last night. You got to have, when you have Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas, Bryson Stott, Otto Kemp, all in the lineup, and you got to have Max Kepler as your cleanup hitter. That's not a playoff team lineup. That's not how you go about winning a game. But you got Ranger Suarez going tonight, who's been red hot against a pitcher for the Marlins who has not started a game this year, who doesn't even have a real number. He's wearing number 60, because that's a number you don't get if you're a long-term thing. I'm trying to talk hockey. I ain't going to lie that my hockey knowledge is limited at this time. I've already got a poll written down for Twitter. Poll? Did I say poll? Does he appear? I love hockey, K1. I do. I have lost my love or my interest in hockey over the last half a decade because of the Flyers. People would be shocked to know that I've been to the most sporting events I've been to are Phillies games. The second most is not Sixers or Eagles, has been Flyers games. Heck, Eagles games, I could probably count on one hand how many Eagles games I've been to. That Patriots game back in 99. I went to the Chargers game and the Giants. I've only been to 3 regular season Eagles games in my life. Not because I don't like football. I've only been to about 6 or 8 NBA games in my life. I've probably been to 30, 40 hockey games in my life, at least. Been to Phantoms games back when they were the Philadelphia Phantoms. Love hockey. It's just when your team is so bad for so long, it's hard to stay focused. When you do a show like this and you can't talk about him on the show. Hey, at least I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts again today. And is he a good quarterback or not? At least we're giving the conversation a different spin today. Casty worked extremely hard to turn himself into a service right fielder. I agree with that first statement 100%. Possibly one of the hardest workers on the team. He has had a chip on his shoulder this year. I agree that he worked damn hard to become a serviceable right fielder. 100%. Agree with you. Unbelievable amount on that. Started talking hockey and we lost a like. Someone unliked the video because I talked hockey. What's up with that? We only got like 8, 9 likes on this video. It's pathetic. You guys are doing terrible on the likes and the votes today. Going to lose games sometimes in baseball. Philly's still a top 4 team and wins. Look, I'm not breaking down the loss in an X's and O's format. I'm not worried about it. But maybe there was a distraction. You could say it didn't have anything to do with it, but the lineup looked a lot weaker without Castellanos in it, A. And B, there were a lot of questions had to be answered to the media an hour or 2 before the game about this. So it could have been not the Cassie thing didn't have anything to do with it in the sense where people were pissed off, but maybe it was a distraction. And those that talked before didn't have to talk after, but maybe they're thinking all game long, hey, I got to talk about this after the game. How many Wooder Dog games have I been to? Doing the math. Hold on a second. That time. I went to that one on the road. No, 0. Are the Wooder Dogs even still a thing? That league hasn't collapsed yet. Cassie is a very literal-minded guy, not an autistic point, but he is just very direct. He probably called it how it was, and someone didn't like it, whoever it was. Well, obviously, Rob Thompson didn't like it. And I get what you're saying. He's got a no-filter kind of way of saying things. Cassie and Schwarber have been on lots of teams, good players, but not great. Well, Casty, I can agree with the statement. He had one really good year in Cincinnati. I think he was in the top 5 of MVP voting that one year. I think it was the year before we signed him. Schwarber has been really damn good with this Phillies team over the last couple of years. Whether he was really great before Philly or not, Barbara, probably not. He was probably good, not great elsewhere. But he's been pretty damn close to great here in Philadelphia, if not great. I mean, he literally is this team's MVP this year. And arguably could have been the last couple of years. I think Schwarber has done more good for this team than probably anybody over the last couple of years, offensively speaking, because Zach Wheeler would be probably the answer to that question overall. Luzardo's pitching yesterday was the main reason for the loss. Yeah. 3 of the last 4 starts, Luzardo has not been great. Or 3 of the last 5, whatever it is. Luzardo's come back down to earth. He's leveled off. The Cy Young All-Star, talk about Luzardo, gone. Compare Harper's MVP years. The Washington one dwarfs the one here. Maybe. Doesn't mean he hasn't been good here. Harper's lost a step, maybe. He's still a damn good baseball player. Steve Fuentes is Castellanos' burner account. Really? I don't know about that. Maybe, though. Maybe. If the Phillies were a pool, they would need their liner changed and water balanced. The pump is working fine, but it'll take more for people to want to swim in it the most. Look at Nooms. He's trying to come up with some analogies here today. And this is a weird one, but it sort of makes a little sense. Look, it's an interesting situation with the Phillies right now. It really, truly is. Whether you agree or not, it could be the tipping point for the season, either good or bad. Rick says it'll be good. Some say it'll be bad. I don't even know how I feel it will happen. I'm just going to let it see how it plays out because I know how it plays out will be great content, good or bad. But I'm not sure yet. It was the right decision. And again, I think we talk too much about Nick Castellanos in this situation and not enough about Rob Thompson. For 4 years now, we've been asking for personality, excitement, or energy, or life from Rob Thompson. He has shown it finally. This is probably the first time that I've stuck up for Rob Thompson in his entire tenure here in Philadelphia. I respect Rob Thompson so much more after this situation. No matter what is the cause of this situation. I do. I think it's very good for this team going forward. Oh, we're up to 11 likes now. Still sitting at 14 likes. Right now, leading the poll on YouTube right now is Fracture the Clubhouse and Dugout with 36% of the vote. 29% say who cares. So is that the case? It's not going to bring it together closer. It's not going to fracture this team. Is it really a situation where who cares? I'm shocked at the 30% who cares. Is that we don't care because it's not going to change anything? Is that a who cares because it's the Phillies? Why do we not care about the situation? In the poll answers. 35 home runs, 84 RBIs isn't MVP worthy in my book. Plus, he didn't even make the All-Star team that year. Harper and talking about, yeah, look, I'd have to go down and do a deep dive, Barb, on that year. Who else was in the MVP voting and stuff like that? I know you're not a Bryce Harper fan to an extent. I'm not saying you don't like the guy. Just saying, I know you think he's overrated or not worth the money or whatever it may be. It's not the first time you've criticized Bryce Harper, and I get it. I want more from Bryce Harper. I want him to run out. I don't care about Bryce Harper's stats. I want Bryce Harper to be a better leader. I want Bryce Harper to care more. I still understand that Bryce Harper is a very integral part of this team. And yes, he's not going to win an MVP anytime soon again, probably ever again. Especially the fact that he breaks down a lot every year now, too. I don't think that enough is talked about how much Bryce Harper's body is breaking down at this point of his career. He's only 32, 33 years old. He's getting banged up a lot on a regular basis. But I still think Bryce Harper can perform and does perform at MVP level. You just have to take the good with the bad. Yeah, go get your effing shine back. Keep him there. Keep him there. Come on. Andrew McCutcheon, level MVP. Okay. Rick just tried to completely do a 360 here. Or a 180. 360 would bring us right back to Rob Thompson. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. going to have a nice season, in my humble opinion. I like how Rick's like, you know what? F the baseball talk. Double F the hockey talk. Triple F all the talk that's going on today. I'm going to drop an Eagles comment. Because that was what the topic of today was going to be. Which young Philadelphia athlete do you want to see break out? There's a lot of good potential young talent in Philadelphia right now. And who do you want to break out the most? And who breaking out will have the biggest impact on their respective team? Rick says Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He's trending in the direction to have the opportunity to have that nice season that you're talking about. Gary Maddox wanted to stab Dallas Green in the face, but he continued to play under him and won. I don't remember this. I mean, I'm a little young, to remember this, but I don't remember reading about this ever. You don't gotta like your manager or coach or whatever. You don't. but you got to respect them and you got to play for them. If you don't like your manager, you still got to play for your teammates. Okay? It's not like you're working at Walmart. You don't like your manager, so screw the teammates. I'll go get a job at Target. Phil, who can the Phillies replace Stott with at second base? It's time. Look, you know what, Barbara? Great question that I'm not sure I have the answer for. It's also a question I hate to see because out of all the young Phillies or the Phillies that are currently rostered, I had a lot of hope and hype for Bryson Stott. I thought Bryson Stott was going to be the man. And Bryson Stott's struggles or regression, I point to Kevin Long some on that. Okay? But Bryson Stott, man, I don't know what to do with him. His trade value would be at its absolute lowest right now. They claim Aiden Miller isn't ready yet. I mean, the most logical answer to your question is you hold on to him and hope that Aiden Miller's ready next year, and you rearrange the infield. Whether you put Miller at second and keep Turner at short, you flip flop them. You move on from Bone. Like you move around that infield. But I don't get the deal with Bryson Stott. Who's to blame? Was he just never that good? I don't know. To me, I think there was talent there. He's regressed. I don't know what to do with Bryson Stott. And I don't know how you fix Bryson Stott. You basically just got to ride him out this year and hope he can figure something out next year. McCain going to break out big time this year. I did put McCain in their graphic for the show. Absolutely. 29 more subscribers. That's right. We're sitting at 540 right now. We're still at 11 likes. Let me see how the like video game is playing here. All right, we're up to 12 likes now. All right, how about that? What's up, Mitchie Poo? Agreed. Stott is a huge letdown. Solid glove, but disappointing back consistently. Yeah, I mean, every time I see a little glimmer of hope in Bryson Stott, then he goes on a bad run. Like, I just don't know what you do with him going forward. Didn't Dallas Green, he didn't have a long tenure. I don't know exactly how much it was. Again, I'm 44. I was born in 1980, so I'm pointing to Stott's bad speed in his elbow. Look, we were told at like 2 o'clock yesterday that Bryson Stott wasn't playing last night, or we were told after Monday's game he wasn't going to play yesterday because he hyperextended his elbow. And then the Nick Castellanos shit went down and he had to play him. Changed the tune on Bryson Stott pretty quick. Banged up last year, banged up this year. Kemp would be the replacement if they move on from Stott. So how, though? Because, I mean, I know Kemp's a third baseman. I know he's learning first base and left field. I would have to go through his baseball reference page to see if he's ever played second or shortstop. And look, Otto Kemp's a nice story right now, and I hope that Otto Kemp is a late bloomer and could be a very good player for this team. I'm just not ready after, 7-10 games I put too much hype on Stott too soon. I put too much hype on Bohm too soon. So I've been burned. So I'm just being patient before I anoint Kemp for sure the next big thing. Yeah, you could do this. You could put Aiden Miller at shortstop, Trea second. If Anthony's right, Kemp at third. You move on from Bohm and Stott. I know Bohm's on a hot streak right now. Maybe you move Bryce Harper back to the outfield and you move Bohm to first. That might be the answer. But again, I mean, Aiden Miller's still in Double-A. He's been out actually the last few games. I saw he's got some kind of, I think they're calling it a skin irritation. He's basically got a really bad rash. But he hasn't even gotten to that next level of Triple-A yet. So I don't know what the deal is with Aiden Miller, when we can even expect him. I mean, he's only, 21 years old at this point? The Phillies don't like to call people up till they're at least 28 years old, 32 years old. So we still got a year or two for that. If Stott's right elbow is an issue, he isn't playing shortstop anytime soon. Absolutely agree. Kemp's going to be a solid MLB player. He might be. But haven't we been burned before by overhyping a prospect too soon, too quickly? So let's just be patient with him. Let's not put any unnecessary expectations on him that he can let us down. Home run, Baker banged Connie Mack's wife, and they still won. I don't know anything about that. I wasn't there. Sosa is the current backup plan. Edmundo Sosa is, come on. He's a nice bench bat. Edmundo Sosa is not an everyday player. Bohm finally is making himself more valuable. Alec Bohm, obviously, a month ago, you couldn't have traded for a bag of baseballs. But he's finally getting off the snide. Okay. Connie Mack didn't have Twitter. He didn't have Twitter. No, he did not. Otto Kemp played a ton of second base. Did he? Okay. I don't know. I know he was playing third base this year when he got hot, and they were testing him in the outfield and first base. Didn't know that. I did not. I'm not going to lie, Anthony. I didn't even know Otto Kemp's name before this year. Before 2 months ago. Who was Otto Kemp? I have no clue. Well, that's not the greatest place to get information from. Big Silio is a Silio man. You know, I do check out his show every so often. Just to check the chat. To see if you guys are in there. And I've seen a few of you in there before. Supporting that crumb bum. But anyway, guys, it's trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. It's the top of the hour. Like, share, subscribe. Vote on the poll. Please. All those things do matter. It's all free to do. We're talking Nick Castellanos and the Phillies because of the situation. We did talk a little hockey, and we can continue the hockey conversation if everybody, if K1 wants. It was the Dombrowski Flyers trade, the worst trade in Philadelphia sports history. It very well could be. Kemp looks like a younger Whit Merrifield. To me, small stature, chubby, and a guy without a position. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Again, I'm just letting it play out with Kemp. There's a utility guy with a Michael Coutier. I remember that guy. Yeah. Maybe. I agree. I think he's more of a utility guy. I think he's more of a big picture, a bench guy. He's maybe a better version of Edmundo Sosa. Look, I'm not a Sosa guy. But I'm not ready to say I am trading Bohm or Stott to for sure make Kemp an everyday guy going forward. I'm just going to let it play out. But again, Bryson Stott, which started this conversation on Otto Kemp, it's a tough situation. He's young, he's cheap, he's under team control for a while. He's shown flashes. If you put him with a different hitting coach, maybe. Maybe. I just don't know what you do with him. Who are the rogue Illuminati in the Cilio chat? Nope. Sosa hasn't played much. Because I think people realize he's not that great. If you play him too frequently, Barb, he gets exposed. You start Sosa, yes. He can hit. But when you play him every day, and they did for a stretch, his average was like 440. Then he started playing every day. And guess what happened? His average dropped into the 200s. Because he can't play every day. Campbell going to be a major impact young player in Philly, going to need a little time to get totally healthy. But when he does, I agree with you. John Campbell is going to be one of those guys that has the potential to go down as an all-time great if he gets healthy and if he stays healthy. Eduardo Tate is playing so well. I hope he's ready because you might need a starting catcher in the next year or so. So, yeah, I cannot wait to watch Campbell play again as well, for sure. Like Rojas, huh? Yeah, like Johan Rojas isn't an everyday player either. Rojas won't be on this team too much longer. Whenever the day comes that Justin Crawford gets the call this year or next, Rojas is out. Rojas will be traded or put back in the minors. Rojas is nothing special. Rojas, we had a bunch of speedy young center fielders back in the day. I forget what their names were. One got traded to the Braves, and the next one wasn't anything either. But Justin Crawford's the real deal, in my opinion. He's one of my most exciting prospects, in my opinion, in the Phillies organization. Right there with Andrew Painter. I put Justin Crawford over Aiden Miller, in my opinion, right now. But right now with this team, we've got what we've got. Yeah, Cedric Mullins. Oh, this was going to be part of the conversation today. I didn't pull it up because we've been talking so much Nick Castellanos. Give me a second here. Let me see if I could find this. There's a lot of Philly fans that just can't wait to get Cedric Mullins in Philly. Okay? But let's do this. Let's share screen for a second. These are Cedric Mullins' career stats, okay? They're not good. He's a career 230 hitter. He's a guy that hits a few home runs. He steals a few bases. He gets on base at barely a 300 clip. Why are so many Phillies fans so enamored with grabbing another 230 hitter to play the outfield? I don't get it. If Cedric Mullins is your best move, the Phillies are going to fall short again. Right, we'll take that off the screen. Andrew Makuba is the rookie I'm hoping to break out. Yeah, I would like to see that because also I don't have faith in Sidney Brown. I think Sidney Brown's career would be best suited if he broke out. J.P. Crawford has been pretty good so far. J.P. Crawford, yeah. We really missed out on him, didn't we? Crawford is back. Justin, I'm confusing these names here. Mick Abel might turn out to be better than Painter. It's still early, but he looks like the real deal. Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you. I mean, well, I don't know if he's going to be better or not. Now, I will say this, that Andrew Painter might be best suited staying in the minors. If our starting pitching continues to carry the team as suited, if you don't trade Ranger Suarez, maybe you do leave Andrew Painter in the minors all year to protect his growth because Mick Abel's done so well. There's a chance that Mick Abel and Andrew Painter are in the starting rotation next year. But there's also an argument to be made if the right deal comes up that Mick Abel gets traded. Good morning, Doc. Better late than never. Yeah, Cedric Mullins had one good year, and it wasn't even that great. Like, seriously. Yeah, throw Roberts, in the equation as well, Barb. Absolutely. These are like borderline at best improvements, if not just parallel. Like, they're just staying the same. You're just making change for change's sake. You might as well just go get Austin Hayes back, right? Mullins or Rojas if you had a choice. Neither? Like I don't want either of them, really. I'd rather go Brandon Marsh over Mullins and Rojas, honestly. Good point. Yeah, protect Painter. Abel is what we were hoping Painter to be this year. Like, I don't know why people, including myself, put so much pressure on Andrew Painter this year. I mean, he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. A lot of guys take a long time to get back. I mean, sometimes they come back better after Tommy John surgery, but not immediately. He literally never pitched in the majors, had Tommy John surgery, missed a year of baseball, started throwing in the Arizona Fall League, and all of a sudden he's supposed to be the real deal this year? Like, I don't get that. Like, I think I kept saying July 4th was the over-under date of him coming up to the big club. Why did we do that? And I know his last start, after 2 starts ago, he got roughed up, and his last start, he pitched really well, touched 99 in the first inning. I get it. But we put a lot of expectations on Andrew Painter right from the get-go to come back from Tommy John so well. And I don't know why we did that. Luis Robert is a minor leaguer with loud tools right now, basically. Smile Mondin is greater than Trot Jr. Not yet, but maybe big picture. K1, I don't know. Since when was a 24-year-old late blooming for a high school pick? I don't know. Why do the Phillies bring up guys so slowly through the minors? Look at Howard even. Well, each situation can be handled differently. Obviously, Ryan Howard was to an extent blocked by Jim Thome here. They could have moved on from Thome sooner than they did, maybe. A lot of it has to do financially. The later you call them up, the longer you control their arbitration years. So that has something to do with it. They called up a few too early, Scott Kingery, and they failed miserably. 23, 24. I mean, they brought up Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm earlier than some of these other guys. So they've done, I mean, hell, Aaron Nola pitched only like less than a year in the minors before they brought him up. So I think there's a more to it than just the money. But yeah, money has a lot to do with it. I do believe Painter will be a good major league starter in this league, but I do also believe he's a few years away. I don't know if he's a few years away. I think he can come up and give you good innings right now. But I don't think he can give you great innings. I think next year he could give you great innings if you protect him. I want to see Keely Ringo and Trot Jr. break out. Davey, good morning to you. Please like, share, vote on the poll. If they do that, Lombardi is ours. I think Keely Ringo is one of the more important players to break out. I think if Trot Jr. doesn't break out, because John Campbell will be ready sooner rather than later, you could survive if Trot Jr. If Keely Ringo doesn't break out, what's your alternative? Adoree Jackson? Which I can't say that that's a good thing, right? Keely Ringo might be the most important Eagle that has to break out for this team. So I agree on that. Moniak is hot again. Dude, Moniak is another one. I'm so bad, just like Bryson Stott. I'm so bad at predicting Phillies minor leaguers and how they'll be good. I thought Mickey Moniak, even though he struggled most of his minor league career in Philly, I figured he was going to eventually figure it out. He had one really good bounce back year in the minors. Then we got rid of him. I was so disappointed. Mickey Moniak, I thought he was going to be a stud. I did. I thought he had the tools. They tried to get Ryan Howard to play a different position, but it didn't go so well. Did they try to get him to play a different position? Probably the outfield, right? I think in a different world when he was DH, in the NL, he would have been called up much sooner. Historically, the Phillies were a penny pinching cheap organization. Back in the Lee Thomas days and stuff like that. And we're always looking to cheap out and save money. That might not be that way now, but they sure used to be. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And that is part of the thing with holding guys back in the minors. It is a money crunch situation to an extent. Not saying it's always the case, but it's definitely part of the case. Ringo going to prove to be a long-time starter in this league. I hope so. Because they don't have an answer if he doesn't right now. We're trying to have a repeat performance. We're trying to be Super Bowl champions back-to-back. We need Keely Ringo to be, at the very least, a solid cornerback this year. Moniak had a semi-attitude issue. See, you'll pay a lot more attention to the minors than I do, Nooms. But you already screwed him up. Yeah, just like Kepler messed up Scotty Jetpacks. Girardi might have messed up Moniak. Fortunately, every NFL team has holes. Nearly all would wish for our. Where's Mitchy Poo when you need him for a comment? Oh my God! Love it. Ringo is still young, but this is make or break. Yeah, I mean he's only 22 years old, and a lot of people forget that about Keely Ringo. A lot of people forget how young Keely Ringo is, for sure. We need a minor league system that produces players like the Dodgers. Certain teams, they just trade prospects nonstop. And they have more prospects to trade the next day. Now, I will say this part. The Phillies minor league organization was bad for a stretch. About the time that Clentak took over, I will say in the last year or two or three, the minor league organization has gotten better. There are some potential players. You got Painter. You had Abel. Griff McGreary is even having a little resurgence this year. You got Tate. You got Miller. You got Crawford. We just called up Otto Kemp. They've got some potential. Whoever Nooms always talks about, the outfielder. They've gotten better. No longer are Mickey Moniak and Cornelius Randolph our best minor league prospects anymore. They have gotten better. Is it perfect yet? No. But there was a 5-6 year stretch where we were one of the 2 or 3 worst minor league systems in baseball. Now we're at least middle of the pack, upper portion of the middle of the pack. So they've gotten better. Still ways to go. I think that safety we signed will be a star. What safety did we sign? Justin Simmons, Reed Blankenship. Drafted. Okay, so you're talking about drafted. Gotcha. I was like, we didn't sign. Did we sign Justin Simmons and I missed it? No, Andrew Makuba, I think Andrew Makuba will not be the starter day one. But I think by week 4 or 5, he will be the starter at least. And he will become a star. I think there's going to be a safety and linebacker, 2 of the hardest positions in a Vic Fangio defense to learn. And I think there's going to be some learning curve between Jahad Campbell, Smal Mondin, and Drew Makuba. We'll see how long it takes them to figure it out, though. Great point. Phillies need better talent evaluation and drafting and minor league development. You know what they need? They need Ed Wade back in that department. Everyone always says Ed Wade's like this awful GM in Phillies history. When Ed Wade was directly responsible for bringing in Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, all those guys, Carlos Ruiz, Cole Hamels. We need a better, but it has gotten better. 5 years ago, we had nobody to call up. Now at least we have some players down there. I just realized that Rollins got MVP in a year that he didn't even make the All-Star team either. You know why I think that happens with players? I wonder how often that happens in baseball, period, Barb. Is because if you have a great season, but you have a crazy Hall of Fame level first half and then a good second half, people forget the first half. Both Rollins' MVP year and Bryce Harper's MVP year, they had way better second halves than they did at first half. And the recency bias, look at how great they've been the last 2 months. Let's give that person the MVP versus the person that had the better year overall. I think there's definitely, in voting for MVP awards in all sports, a recency bias. In the sense recency as in the later part of the year versus the early part of the year. Makuba, incredibly smart player with great instincts. It's still a Vic Fangio system. So I think that there might be, look, I'm not a Sidney Brown guy. I would argue to say that if they sign Justin Simmons at some point in August, Sidney Brown doesn't even make the team. But Andrew Makuba, I think you need to be patient with him. Ed Wade was great. Ed Wade literally is the direct result of why we won the World Series in 2008. Absolutely. I don't know how many times it happened. It sounds weird, and I agree. I don't know either if it's ever happened before outside of the Phillies. But my thought process up here, how I'm describing why, it sounds right in my head. I feel like it sounds like a logical, scenario or result to get to there. We'll see. I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, how many Phillies are even going to make the All-Star game this year? Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Zach Wheeler. That's about it. Maybe Ranger Suarez. Last year we had 8-9 All-Stars. We might have 4 this year. It's a big drop-off on the team. Just shows how inconsistently this team has played this year. Lewis Sign is making the 53. I think he will, K1, unless they keep Sidney Brown and bring in Justin Simmons. It's too far away. I have my initial 53-man roster chart here of how many at each position they keep. I haven't added 2024 yet. I got to do that. I'll do that. 16 likes. That's getting better. No new subs. Yeah. I thought some Nick Castellanos arguments would bring in some people today. Guess not. Seen, sign. I know it's seen, but it looks like sign. Schwarber should do the home run derby. Do we really want any more Phillies in the home run derby? Do we? It never seems to work out well for the Phillies. when our players do the home run derby. It just doesn't. So I don't know if I want that or not, Adam. I'm not sure. But anyway, on this, I'm pretty sure I can't reach my notes over there. Pretty sure they only ever keep 4 safeties. So Reed Blankenship, Andrew Makuba, Sidney Brown, and Lewis Sign. Right now would be and Tristan McCullum. Lewis Sign would be 5 on that list. So we're gonna have to see how that plays out. They do seem to like, and Vic Fangio does seem to like Tristan McCullum. Home run derby messes players up, screwed up. The biggest of them all was Bobby Abreu all those years back when he won the home run derby. Trea will be a starter, maybe a starter, or all-star, maybe a starter. We get to see with the voting. The first, 3, 4, 5 days ago, the first reports of where the voting goes. I think Trey Turner was 3rd, and Kyle Schwarber was 4th in their respective positions. Or maybe it was Schwarber was 3rd and Turner was 4th. I forget. So they weren't even, Trey Turner wasn't even close. I think it was a good 800,000 votes behind whoever was the leader at shortstop. But he should be a starter. He probably will be a starter. Or an all-star, not a starter. That's just my opinion. But he probably won't reach starter level of votes. And I forget who was leading the vote at that point. Who's ready for the Phillies to lose today? Well, I hope they don't lose. Ranger Suarez going up against Adam Mazur, a guy that's not pitched in the bigs this year ever. He's got 8 career games in his career. In 33 innings in his career, he's given up 28 earned runs in 33 career innings. If the Phillies get shut out tonight, I wouldn't be shocked. It cracks me up. You can't pronounce scene correctly. You missed Fairway to Heaven last night. Our guest, the John Morrison lookalike, Scotty Haldridge, he pronounced Bazudenhout correctly, and I had to correct him and say, no, it's Bazudenhout. And he didn't get the joke. Good morning, Eric. Welcome to the party. Ohtani will be the DH. Schwarber will be an extra guy. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. That's probably very Schwarber's probably the one that's 700,000-800,000 votes behind. Not Turner then. Schwarber 7 innings, 1 run, 9 Ks. Phillies win 8-2. I would like to see the Phillies bats do what they're supposed to do against a guy that's given up 28 earned runs in 33 career innings. I would like to see that. I hope. If they do anything less than this, Rick, if they win tonight 3-2, that might be a disappointment, in my opinion. How the Grand Poobah of the Illuminati. Exactly. All right, guys, we're coming to the end of the show here. Got to wrap it up. I got to get into the shop. I got a couple catering orders to get to. We'll be on tap. We'll re-tap into this young athletes conversation tomorrow, maybe. I'm sure we'll talk more Nick Castellanos and more Phillies. Yes, all wins are great wins, but some are better than others. Just saying. Casty comes out his. Is anybody going to bet Castellanos home run prop tonight? I mean, that would be an interesting one for sure. Interesting prop to bet tonight for sure. But anyway, guys, we'll see what's on the docket for tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be a lot. These tough Marlins, those tough Marlins. The Mets have no pitch. Yeah, absolutely. What's up, Reality Check? Hey, you're always welcome to come and say hello, even at the end. Always welcome. Just make sure you hit that like button, that share button, vote on the poll. Final votes on the poll. Who cares and fracture the clubhouse? Tied at 31% on this poll. Not at all 12%. Bring the team closer together. Got 25%, guys. Cass has 3 hits. Yes. Only 12 more Wednesdays before we can talk about the Eagles season opener. Holy crap. Let's go, Steven Fuentes. Gotta love that. So that means 12 weeks from tomorrow's first game? Is that what that means? I'm going to wait till you answer that. 12 more weeks till the Eagles kick off. And that might be tomorrow's title. In fact, I'm reopening up my notebook to write down 12 weeks till kickoff. That's tomorrow's show title. 12 weeks till Eagles kick it off. Thank you, Bob, for coming in this morning. I appreciate you 100%. I appreciate everybody that tuned in today. I hope everybody has a great Wednesday. I got lots of work to get to today, guys. So Everybody have a great day. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Check out Philly Press Box Radio tonight at 7 p.m. Chet and Bill Furman will have Keith Pompey on the show today, talking Sixers in the NBA draft. And they will have a great musical guest, the drummer from the Hooters. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I had to triple check my spelling on his name. The Hooters, great band from the 70s. Their drummer will be on the show tonight as well. So make sure you check it out live right here, 7 p.m. on the STT Sports Network. Thank you very much, Adam, for tuning in today. Much appreciated. Everybody have a great Wednesday. Go Birds. Bubbles up.